Open sesame. It's time for the Sports Vault with Jersey Joe and Big Shot Rob.
Yeah, Joe, I think the Knicks are going to win the championship this year. They're going to beat the Heat.
Let me stop you right there, Rob. The Miami Heat will win the championship this year.
It's back-to-back titles for the Heat. The 2013 NBA championship resides once again in Miami.
The Madden cover winner in 2012 was Peyton Hillis.
Peyton who?
Running room with the ends. Peyton Hillis is loose. Sprint to the end zone. Touchdown.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have yet to win a game so far, Joe.
I think it's time to unleash Tim Tebow, Rob.
It definitely is.
Tebow looping to the left side. Tebow on the move. 10-yard line, 5-yard line. It's Tebow time.
Are you kidding me, Joe? Alex Rodriguez will make more than the entire Houston Astros roster this season?
I don't know what they're doing down there, Big Shot Rob.
That ball is high. That is far. It is good.
You can listen to the Sports Vault every Friday from 12:30 to 1:30 on WICR. Hello, Iona College. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. As always, I'm your host with the most, Jersey Joe, coming with my partner, Big Shot Rob. And man, like always, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Last night on Thursday Night Football, you had the Indianapolis Colts defeating the Tennessee Titans 30-27, and like I always do, I'll give you guys my takeaways from the game. Titans looked pretty sharp out the gate, but they just collapsed, and the Colts found a way to get the win, and that's what good teams do. Good teams come back no matter what happens, and the Colts are a good team. But I am concerned about the Colts because at this point right now, you want to be playing your best football going into. I mean, we're coming away, and the season's almost over. We're going to be at the end of the season before we know it, and you really don't want to be struggling right now. You want to be playing your best football. We saw it last season with the Texans. Look at them. The last stretch of the season, they really did not play good football, and they just couldn't get anything in the playoffs. They really just got bounced out. So I'm a little concerned about the Colts. A big thing that I've noticed, I've heard from some people, and I agree with, is the loss of Reggie Wayne is just devastating for the Colts. It really prevents them from going far in the playoffs. And when I look at that offense, I just don't see a big playmaker. Darius Hayward-Bay really hasn't stepped up. There's just no explosive playmaker that they can rely on. So I think that's really going to hurt them. And Trent Richardson, I think that they're going to start really regretting that because he looks lost in that offense. He really does. He struggled tremendously. And right now, I think the Colts would really be thinking that one over again if they could. But that's my recap of the game last night. Like always, let's get into our picks, and we're going to kick it off with Big Shot Rob's New York Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills off their bye. Rob, why don't you start off with this one?
You know what I'm saying, Joe. We're going for the W this week. The Bills team struggled last week. E.J. Manuel is back. He did not look like his same, though. You know, he's rusty right now. But I think the Jets defense, especially now with the addition of Ed Reed, is going to just stop this team big time.
I agree. I'm going with the Jets as well. The Jets gave E.J. Manuel a lot of trouble. It's the first time he played them. He's still coming off that injury. I think he's still going to be a little bit of rusty. It'll take him some time to ease back into it. So I'm going to go with the Jets in this one as well. The next game we have is the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Falcons might be the most disappointing team this year. 2-7 overall. They've just looked terrible this year. They look like a mess. Tampa Bay coming off their first win. Part of me wanted to take Tampa Bay. I was very close to writing that down, but I just couldn't force myself to pick Tampa Bay. I still am holding out. Part of me is holding out hope for Atlanta. I just think Atlanta is too good of a quarterback to pick against in this game, so I'm going to go with the Falcons, but something tells me the line in this game is very weird. I think it's only 1.5. Something weird is going on in this game. Tampa has a shot, but I just can't pick against Atlanta.
I'm going to go with Atlanta in this one too, Joe. This is the battle, for last place in that division.
Last place.
And Matt Ryan is overall a better quarterback than Glennon. And Tampa, they got one win, but I think Atlanta still is the better team.
All right, agreed. After that, we have the Lions and the Steelers, and this is it for the Lions, coming off a big win against the Bears. Huge win. Very impressed. But the Lions, this is it. They have to show that they can be a consistent team week in, week out. They haven't shown it so far this year, and I'm still a little worried about that. But I like the way this team is moving. If they get a win against Pittsburgh on the road, that's the problem too, is 2 games on a row on the road like this is very tough. But Pittsburgh offensively is not great. The Lions' defense has played pretty well. Their offense is moving very well. Calvin Johnson's a little banged up, but I think the Lions could really make a statement here, and I think they'll find a way to get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions in this one too, Joe. This game right now, they have to win this game. You got to take advantage. Aaron Rodgers is out 3 weeks. Take advantage of those weeks. At least win 2 of those games because you know when he's back, he's going to help try to bring the Packers to win that division. But I think Green Bay should win. They're better than this Pittsburgh team. I mean, the Lions are better than this Pittsburgh team.
Agreed on there. This is a tough one, the next one. You have the Redskins and the Eagles. Both have been disappointing this year. The Eagles, though, they just don't win at home. I mean, it's unbelievable how much they struggle at home. I don't think I've seen any team in the NFL struggle as much at home as I have the Eagles. And the line moved up on this game from a 3 to a 4.5, so that's something to take into consideration. But I just can't trust this team at home. I'm still not sold on their offense. I like Nick Foles. He's played very well the last couple of weeks. Really has. Impressed with him. I still think the Redskins' offense has looked pretty good, although their defense is terrible. This could be a pretty high-scoring game, but like I said, I haven't been convinced by the Eagles at home. I got to go with the Redskins in this one.
I'm going to go with the Eagles for this one, Joe. Nick Foles has really impressed me the last couple of weeks, and I think his confidence level is really high right now. RG3, though, has really bounced back this season. You know, he really started off slow coming back from that ACL injury. And now he's been RG3 that we've seen from last year. He's really stepped it up big time, making good passes. But I think Nick Foles is just on a roll right now. I think he's going to be able to lead this Eagles team.
Should be an interesting game. After that, we have the Cardinals and the Jaguars. Not a great matchup, but the Cardinals' defense is a little underrated. They have a very solid defense. Patrick Peterson is a phenomenal player. They're on the road. I like Jacksonville coming off their first win. That gives them a little momentum. They've definitely gotten better every week, so I don't think it's going to be as big a blowout as some people think it'll be. Arizona's offense is still not great, but I think Arizona's defense is very, very good, and I just don't see Jacksonville moving the ball against them. So I'm going to give the Cardinals a win on the road here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals, too. I see Jacksonville just really struggling versus Cardinals' defense. Just like you said, though, Arizona's offense hasn't been clicking. But if they definitely win this game, you know that it's going to be real competition with the 49ers for second place in that division.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something to think about. After that, though, you have the Raiders and the Texans, and this is a weird game. The line in this game is about a 7.5. But I don't know. The weird thing for me in this game is both teams I'm just not very impressed with. I like Terrell Pryor, but he struggled last week against the Giants. I don't know what I'm seeing out of Case Keenum and the Texans. I'm going to pick the Texans because they're home, but this is one of those ones where I could really see going either way. I'm really not sold on either team, so I'm going to go with the Texans being the home team here.
I'm going with the Raiders for this one, Joe. Pryor did struggle. I think he's going to have a bounce-back week. But the Texans team, I think this team has just fallen apart this year. They're going to get a top draft pick coming up in the draft this summer. I don't see this team beating the Raiders, though. I think the Raiders are a better team. They did play good versus the Giants last week. They did have some struggles, but I felt they played good versus the Giants. But I think they should be able to beat this Texans team.
Interesting analysis. Gary Kubiak will be back for the Texans, so we'll see how that impacts them. But the next game is a pretty interesting one as well. You have the Ravens on the road against the Bears. Ravens got a big win against the Bengals last week, but their offense has just struggled tremendously this year. Joe Flacco just doesn't have any explosive wide receivers right now. Ray Rice has just had a terrible year. He hasn't done anything. He's really struggled. And the Bears, Jay Cutler's been banged up. His status, I believe, is still up in the air. I'm going to pick the Bears here being the home team. I just have not been impressed with the Ravens' offense at all. Not impressed with Chicago's defense as well, but I just think Chicago being home here, I think that they are a little bit better right now, so I'm going to go with the Bears.
I'm going with the Ravens for this one, but I think for the Bears to win, Jay Cutler really has to step up this week, and he has to play through this injury, really step up as a man, and be like, I could lead this team, play through this injury like the way Peyton Manning does. That's the only way the Bears are going to win this game.
Well, you know Jay Cutler, Rob. That's always a problem with him. So, but we never know. After that, you have the Bengals and the Browns. The Bengals are coming off that loss to the Ravens where they brought it to overtime. But like I said, the Bengals, I want to like them, but they just have not been consistent enough for me to like them this year. I will pick them in this game. Cleveland's not very good, and their Bengals are at home. But I'm still not crazy about Cincinnati.
I'm going with Cincinnati for this one too, Joe. Just like you said, there's a hard game to choose, but this possibly could be a good week for Cincinnati. You know them. They have a bad week and then they bounce back usually. And this Browns team is not impressive whatsoever with Brandon Weeden.
Absolutely. After that, you have the Chargers and the Dolphins. My Chargers coming off 2 losses in a row. The Dolphins coming off a loss on Monday night to the Buccaneers. I like the Chargers here. I think coming the 2 losses, and one good point is the Chargers have been in every game they've played pretty much. Every game has been close. I think the Dolphins still have a lot of distractions, so I'm going to take the Chargers on the road here.
I'm going with the Chargers too in this one. The Dolphins are really distracted, and I think that last loss on Monday night, I think that just ended their season. Losing to a team that was 0-8, I think that really ended their season with a devastating loss right there.
Good point. That was very demoralizing. The next one we have is the Giants and the Packers. Look, you never know with the Giants. Sorry, Giants fans. You just never know. I'm going to take the Giants. The Eli Manning has struggled this year, but I just can't convince myself to take the Packers with all the injuries they have right now. So I like the Giants here, but like I said, you can never tell with this team. But I think you just got to ride it out. I think they're the safer team, the healthier team here. So I think you just got to go with the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Giants too. Green Bay is really weak right now on offense. They have their third-string quarterback playing. But this game's going to depend, is Eli Manning going to play like that regular quarterback he is, or is he going to play like a second-string quarterback? And that's what's going to depend on this whole game.
That's going to be the key, is Eli's got to start waking up, but we'll see what happens in that. After that, you have the Seahawks and the Vikings, one of the easier games to pick of the week. Seattle hasn't been as dominant as home this year as they were last year, but they still have done extremely well. The Vikings are a very not great team, so the Seahawks should get an easy win here.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Seattle for this one. Their defense has been phenomenal this year. Russell Wilson has stepped it up in games where he's been down, and I think Seattle should win, especially at home.
Agreed there. This is a good one after this. We have the Saints and the 49ers. Colin Kaepernick, he's just had a really tough year. The games that they were winning when they pulled together that little winning streak, it was all because of the run game. Colin Kaepernick really wasn't tested. He didn't have to make too many difficult passes. Frank Gore was running the ball extremely well, and I think that was a big part of their success there. I'm really concerned with Colin Kaepernick. The Saints' offense is just clicking on all cylinders. I'm picking the Saints to win here because I think if you make Colin Kaepernick have to be uncomfortable and throw the ball, he's going to struggle, and he has struggled doing that, so I'm going to go with the Saints here.
I'm going with the Saints, too. Drew Brees is having an unbelievable year. I think he's going to be at the Meadowlands coming February for the Super Bowl. And you're right, with the 49ers team, Colin Kaepernick has really struggled this year. His passer rating is just plain awful. The running game is what saved San Francisco and their defense. They really messed up letting Alex Smith go like that, trading him to Kansas City.
Absolutely. Following that, Rob, man, what an absolute fantastic Sunday night game we have. The Chiefs and the Broncos. I've been waiting for this one for a while. Both teams have just been phenomenal this year, and there's been a lot of people going back and forth on this one. I'm going to go with the Broncos in this one. I think their offense is too explosive for the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs' defense a lot. I think they match up well against Denver, but I'm not crazy about that Chiefs' offense. I think if you make them go toe-to-toe with Peyton Manning's explosive offense, then it's not going to work. The Chiefs haven't really been tested this year. This is going to be a big test. All year they've been able to be methodical, do what they wanted to do, and Denver's not going to let them do that, so I'm going to go with Denver at home here.
I'm going with Denver, too, not only because they're the home team. I looked it over this week. I originally had the Chiefs because I thought they were just on this great winning streak, especially with Peyton Manning being injured. But now when you look at it, they do have the best defense out there, but they really don't have an offense that could score. Peyton Manning could score on a tough defense. So I think the Broncos should be able to win this one.
Good point. One thing I forgot to mention is this is an X factor. Andy Reid coming off the buys is something very important to take note of. I think he's lost one time in his career coming off a bye, and that was last year when that Eagles team really struggled. But he is just a phenomenal coach. He puts his team in fantastic positions coming off a bye. So that could be something to definitely take into account. But it should be a fantastic game. Really looking forward to it. The Monday night game is very good as well. You have the Patriots and the Panthers. Patriots are coming off their bye, and the Panthers, they've been playing fantastic football right now. I think the Panthers are going to continue their streak. I don't like picking against New England coming off a bye. I think that's not always a great thing, but the Panthers have been playing too well for me. Their defense is phenomenal, and I'm going to go with the Panthers here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Panthers too, Joe. Their defense has been phenomenal these past couple weeks. But this game really depends is Cam Newton, is he going to step up this week and be an elite quarterback? Because I really haven't seen that much explosiveness out of him the past couple weeks that he should be having.
Yeah, I mean, he's played well, but he still has some things he can work on. But we'll see what happens in that game. Segueing into our next part of our NFL thing, obviously a lot of big news this week was about Dwayne Bowe, and there's been a lot of criticism about him playing in the game following his arrest for a possession of an illegal substance, and a lot of people think he shouldn't be playing this week. I agree with them. I think he should not be playing. I'm really surprised at the NFL because they're always so strict on stuff like this, and this doesn't reflects poorly on the Chiefs. It reflects poorly on the NFL. I mean, you have a guy who was just arrested and playing on Sunday. Something doesn't seem to add up there for me, and I just think it reflects badly on the Chiefs and the NFL. So I don't think he should be playing, but we'll see. Rob, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think he should be playing either whatsoever, Joe. He broke a policy in the NFL. That's one of the rules you have to follow as a player coming into the NFL. They give you a list of rules, and that's what you got to abide by. And he should be definitely suspended at least one game. I'm surprised the commissioner didn't come down on him.
I am too. I mean, it sets a precedent where's the consequence? If somebody does this wrong and then the league comes down on them, well, then they're going to say, well, why do I get it and Dwayne Bowe didn't have anything happen to him? I mean, maybe it's because they want the Chiefs and the Broncos game to be very competitive. I don't know, but you don't know, and I think it just doesn't look right for the league, and I'm a little surprised because they're usually all about protecting the shield, and that's very uncharacteristic-like of them. But here's our next thing, Rob. Your Jets picked up Ed Reed this year, and a lot of talk's been, do you think that Ed Reed can be revived by Rex Ryan? What do you think?
I think so. You know, the day that I found out he was released, I was like, Rex Ryan is definitely jumping in on that. Because you know Rex Ryan, he wanted Ray Lewis a couple years ago when he came to New York. He wanted Ed Reed when he came to New York. He's kept Bart Scott, and he's helped change whatever players he has from the Ravens, and they come to New York. He helps them stay the way they were in Baltimore. But I think he could really revive this Jets defense. They've been really weak at the safety position. They only have 2 picks, I think, this year with the safeties. And I think Ed Reed is just a good presence to have out there on the field.
I mean, I don't know, Rob. Unfortunately, I got to disagree with you here. I just think he won't be used on an effective basis. He's 35 years old. I just don't see the spark in his engine anymore. And the big thing for me is I've seen nothing this year to indicate that he could still contribute on a high level. I mean, I don't think he's an every down guy. If you put him in for certain situations, certain packages, maybe he can be effective. But I honestly think that he's on the way out. But we'll see what's going to happen with him. Should be interesting to see what the Jets do. But that's going to do it for our NFL segment. And when we come back, man, we've got a huge college football weekend. So many games to go over. We will be back in a minute, and hope you guys join us.
Feeling cool and clean, the best that you've ever been. You're surrounded.